Well, let me begin first by saying a big heartfelt thank you to Lee and Patsy Todd for, first of all, orchestrating this lovely event. It is a wonderful collection of our friends and Terry's colleagues, and it has been a wonderful 33-year journey, if you will. And it so happens that that also is the exact number of years that we have been Mr. and Mrs. Terry Mobley. So the entire time that we have been here through, oh goodness, 4 presidents and any number of deans and professors and that sort of thing, has been just an absolutely remarkable time of Terry's service, and I've been delighted to be his sidekick, if you will, and we have a storehouse of memories, all of which we will treasure.
When you start looking at the adjectives to describe somebody that you've known for 47 years, there are lots of words that come up for Terry Mobley.
Very supportive.
Special. What you see is what you get.
Focused.
Calm.
Professional.
Consummate team player.
Role model.
Gentleman. Loyal.
Walking encyclopedia.
Really the institutional memory of UK.
Class act.
Mentor.
Kentuckian.
He's the young man who came out of Harrisburg.
He must have had wonderful parents because he has displayed impeccable manners.
You have to understand he grew up as a young boy in the small community of Harrisburg, Kentucky, as a PK. Now, if you don't know what a PK is, that's a preacher's kid. And not only was he a preacher's kid, he was a Baptist preacher's kid. But I say that with all due respect because truly the background that he gained created the very essence of the man that you know today and the man that I first met when I was a mere 17 years old.
Terry will be remembered for several things at the University of Kentucky. Some will remember him for being the Kentucky Wildcat basketball player until 1965.
The first time I heard Terry's name was when he was a basketball player for the University of Kentucky.
You have to know that he played basketball up here because you'd never hear it from Terry.
He was an outstanding player, was highly recruited.
He, of course, played for my father on the basketball team. So I'm going to say I first met Terry around 1962, and then it's been an everlasting friendship since then.
While we both went through some strong regimen under Coach Rupp, there is a strong bonding, a relationship that goes with all of us that played there. And with Terry, it became probably as strong as anybody I ever played with while I was at UK.
We practiced in those days over at Memorial Coliseum. So in this particular practice, Terry had a couple of turnovers, and you'd have to know Coach Rupp and his mannerisms to understand how he reacted to losing the ball, because he thought possession of the ball was the most important thing for the team. So he reminded Terry, said, "Mobley, there have been some other people that we recruited throughout the state that wanted to come here, and they would have had your scholarship, but we signed you. Now, something I'd like to know is just what are you going to do for us lately?" Well, it just so happens, ironically, that a few days prior to that, we were in a Sugar Bowl game, the finals.
New Year's Eve in New Orleans.
Kentucky was playing then ranked #1 Duke.
I was there in person in New Orleans.
Linda and I were at her grandparents' home, grandmother's home in Nicholasville at the time, listening to the game on the radio.
Duke was leading UK with a minute and a half left. I believe they were leading 79-77.
Terry had the basketball, seconds running out, but he had instructions to get the ball to Cotton Nash. Well, for some reason that he's never been able to explain, he did not pass the ball to Cotton Nash.
Terry hit the shot with 7 seconds to go.
Kentucky wins the Sugar Bowl.
And that was wonderful. The only thing is it created a slight rift because I jumped up and the chair flew across the floor, and that wasn't too good a way to impress your in-laws, but it did get us a win, and once they understood what I jumped up about, they were tickled too.
And how about that on a twist of fate? A UK player hitting a last-second shot to beat Duke.
Coach Pitino would love to have had him in Philadelphia a few years later.
When we were younger, there was always that stigma attached to athletes that Well, they were just athletes, okay? Well, Terry was more than that. Terry was much more than that. He was a great role model for people who used their education and furthered themselves and made themselves better.
Terry, in his bulldog professionalism, prevents diversion and prevents delay, and has fought for the University of Kentucky in a coat and tie, in an administrative position, every bit as much as he fought for the University of Kentucky in that uniform.
Others will remember him for the time he served as the acting athletic director at the University of Kentucky.
He has been the utility infielder in this institution in a lot of ways. He's picked up the water, picked up shouldered responsibility, and helped the university work through lots of challenges and opportunities.
Terry has been there through President Singletary, President Rozelle, through my tenure as president, and now through President Todd's time there. So I think that really speaks well for Terry, and everybody ought to understand how difficult it is to transition from one administration to another and keep doing a great job for the University of Kentucky.
He's always been a very calm leader. He isn't someone who has to insert himself loudly or boldly into the middle of things. And yet he is professional and respected to the extent that when he speaks, people listen.